What if the quiet whispers from Golden State's front office are actually the deafening pulse of a roster revolution lurking in the shadows of Chase Center? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash era. Passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. The Golden State Warriors, a team synonymous with dynastic dominance and heart-stopping playoff runs, might just be on the verge of a subtle but seismic shift that few have grasped amid the offseason's relative silence. While names like Malcolm, Brogdon, Trey Lyles, and Gary Payton II have dangled like tempting fruit in the swirling rumors, the real chess moves appear focused on two underrated guards who could redefine the Warriors' bench depth and ultimately their fate: Seth Curry and Ben Simmons. Yes, Seth, the younger brother of the franchise's very own MVP kingpin Stephen Curry, is emerging quietly, but with a tantalizingly realistic chance of reuniting with his brother on the hardwood in the Bay Area. At 34, Seth's journey from sharpshooting prodigy to undervalued asset who averaged a pristine 47.8% shooting from the field and an eye-popping 45.6% from beyond the arc last season, despite limited minutes, paints a picture of a player whose gravity as a floor spacer could seamlessly plug the Warriors' glaring bench shooting holes. Can you imagine the chemistry potential Steph's range stretching defenses alongside his own bloodline, lighting a new fire in a veteran roster desperate to stay relevant in the merciless Western Conference? The Warriors' offense noticeably faltered whenever Steph hit the bench last season. Bringing in Seth would inject not just instant offense, but rejuvenate the spirit of the squad and the fan base alike, mending both with threads of familial pride and sharpshooting efficiency on a bargain minimum contract that fits Golden State's razor-thin cap space. This isn't just about the optics of having two Currys on the court. This is about scheme, rhythm, and identity. Seth offers a clean fit in Kerr's system. A player who doesn't need the ball in his hands for long, doesn't break the motion with isolation play, and simply does his job better than almost any other shooter alive. Off-ball screens, quick hitters, decoys. Seth becomes a multiplier effect on every second unit. And when you consider the damage that Steph has already done solo for over a decade, the thought of him sharing stretches with Seth could cause defensive nightmares league-wide. But hold your breath, because if Seth is the elegant answer to spacing, woes, Ben Simmons might just be the mercurial wildfire that shoots the Warriors' defense and playmaking to uncharted levels. The Simmons we know is not without controversy, his career marred by bone-rattling injuries, public clashes, and a devastating drop from his all-star peak. But the whispers from inside the Warriors' inner circle suggest a different narrative. One where Simmons, now 28 and reportedly healthy, is open to a minimum deal that puts championship rings over individual glory. His averages of 5.0 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 5.6 assists last season spread across erratic stints with the Nets. And Clippers don't tell the whole story. Simmons still wields a unique combination of size, vision, and defensive versatility tailor-made for Steve Kerr's fluid offense, a system that thrives on rapid movement and precise decision-making. Could he embody a Draymond Green-like prototype? The linchpin who pushes transition breaks, locks down multiple positions, and orchestrates offense without the heavy burden of scoring? Imagine Simmons in that second unit, freeing up Steph and Clay from the grind of guarding elite wings every night. Imagine him orchestrating transition plays off a defensive rebound, drawing attention without ever needing to pull up from three, and dishing dimes to cutters like Brandon Podziemski or trailing Moody. The Warriors don't need Simmons to score. They need him to stabilize, to screen, to read the floor. If he buys into that identity, he could be the single most disruptive signing in the West, a defensive X-factor that turns bench minutes into swing quarters. And all of this under the tutelage of Kerr, Draymond, and a staff that knows how to squeeze every ounce out of unconventional talent. And let's not forget, this team knows how to protect its vulnerable stars. Rehab is part of the culture. Reinvention is embedded in their DNA. Underneath it all, The Warriors' cap constraints mean these moves have to be low risk but high upside. Hence, Seth and Simmons on minimum deals look like chess pieces placed with painstaking precision by a front office not content to just tread water. And just when you think the plot is set, the emerging saga around Jonathan Kuminga cranks the intrigue to another level. Expected to re-up with the team only to be swiftly shipped before the February trade deadline, Kuminga's fate could be the key to unlocking the Warriors' next roster chapter. There are even rumors circulating about a handshake agreement with Al Horford lurking behind the scenes, a savvy veteran addition to bolster the front court toughness and veteran leadership, while Steph Curry himself may have spilled an accidental hint, igniting a wildfire of speculation across Dub Nation. Imagine a bench where Horford and Simmons anchor the defense, Seth floats through space on the perimeter, and the Warriors run split-action plays that haven't been possible since the Iguodala days. What exactly is brewing in the Bay? Is this a stealth mode teardown, a rebuild masked as refinement, or the subtle laying of foundations for one last roaring dynasty run? Could the return of Seth Curry rewrite the narrative of bench lethargy, and can a reinvented Ben Simmons return? From exile to become the defensive guardian and playmaking catalyst the Warriors so desperately crave? And as Kuminga's situation reverberates through the locker room, shadow deals and careful salary cap maneuvers suggest the front office is orchestrating a second wave of seismic off-season moves that could change everything before the season even tips off. This is more than just bench boosting. It might be a calculated gamble to reclaim glory, echoing echoes of the We Believe era's scrappy heart and the dynasty's golden glories. All of it, the whispers, the hesitations, the almost deals points, toward a front office that's finally accepting what many fans have feared. The core is aging, the timeline is closing, and to stay competitive, bold but measured risk is the only path forward. Not tanking, not trading Steph, but reinforcing around him with the most resourceful, unconventional weapons available. Seth, Simmons, Horford, they're not headline makers in 2025. But together, they could be the bedrock of one final, unforgettable playoff run. One that doesn't lean on stardust, but on cohesion, on grit, on sacrifice. As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this, imagining the collision of these personalities and the electric possibilities on the horizon. But is this the spark that reignites our dynasty or the crack that fractures our legacy? We're standing on the edge of something brave, something terrifying. And I want to hear from you. Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. Because if this truly is the beginning of the end or the rebirth we never saw coming, I want to ride the wave with every last one of you. Let's go, Warriors. The next chapter starts now. If you're sitting there right now wondering if this off-season quiet is really just the calm before a Warriors storm, holler at me with your wildest prediction, because this ain't just your average roster shuffle. It's a heart-pounding, soul-shaking crossroads for Dub Nation's legacy. From the very pulse of the Chase Center to the hushed talks in the front office war room, what's coming next might rewrite everything we thought we knew about the future of Golden State basketball. Imagine this. Seth Curry stepping back on that hardwood beneath the bright lights. The younger brother of our Splash Brother legend finally donning the blue and gold to stretch defenses, not just with pure skill, but with the kind of familial electricity that turns moments into memories. It's not just about filling shooting gaps. It's healing the bench's bruised pride, reigniting a fire that tech stats can't measure, the kind of fire that makes opponents quake and fans roar till their voices give out. And yet, that potential spark brings fresh tension too, because where does it leave Moody? Can Looney still carve out his piece amid a wave of vets? And what about Kuminga, the 2021 high flyer who's suddenly become the wild card, the chess piece the Warriors might trade just when we expected him to lead our next generation? The whispers around his name clash with the smiles in press conferences, leaving us wondering, is this a masterstroke or a heartbreaking abdication? Meanwhile, under the radar, Ben Simmons the enigma, the fallen star stands at a precipice, possibly primed not for resurrection as the scorer we hoped, but a reinvention as the defensive demon and team conduit Kerr has long coveted. Can you feel the tension twisting tighter? Simmons in that green and gold uniform isn't just a gamble. It's almost disrespectful to what he was supposed to be, and yet could it be exactly what this gritty squad needs? The reminder of Draymond, the fiery heart and the irreplaceable spine, looms larger than ever as the yin to Simmons' yang. Can the two coexist without fracturing the fragile chemistry between Steph's magic and the rest of the roster? Because the constant, brutal pressure this team faces isn't just on the court. It crushes locker room dynamics, strains egos, and magnifies every micro mistake. Steve Kerr's mind must be spinning with the weight of choosing between seasoned shooters, defensive stoppers, and burgeoning young talent who may never quite reach their potential here. Meanwhile, Wiggins, the other survivor of the dynasty's golden years, stands on the edge too. His relentless hustle and clutch bucket ability are unquestioned. But will the threat of new faces, new hierarchies, leave him inspired or overshadowed? This isn't just a roster reevaluation. It feels like the psychological battle brewing beneath that Chase Center hardwood, a simmering pressure cooker of loyalty, ambition, and survival. And then there's the payroll puzzle, the invisible chains of cap space that dictate every whispered trade, every minimum contract, every carefully weighed risk. It's a delicate dance, a nearly impossible Rubik's Cube that even the savviest front offices choke on. Seth and Simmons might be golden bargains, but what if they're also decoys masking the Warriors' true intentions perhaps? The quiet groundwork for yet another midseason blockbuster that could include ripping apart the emotional fabric weave. Hell, dear, starting with Kuminga or even Wiggins. Fans have been burned before watching young hope traded away or veterans shipped out. So we feel that pit of dread. What if this is not evolution but erosion? Yet, deep down, we dream, because that's what Ramona Shelburne's whispers, those cautious nods from inside the organization hint at. A plan designed not just for survival, but for a thunderous comeback, a coup de mater that defies doubters and critics alike. What if this is the moment that reclaims our place at the summit of a league that shows no mercy? What if Steph, now chasing the shadows of his youngest prime, harnesses the fuel of family coming home and Seth alongside the unpredictable dynamo of a reborn Simmons to silence the naysayers who wrote the Warriors off too soon? The emotional roller coaster is blistering. We've endured the soul-crushing playoff losses, the injuries that seem to curse every run, the deaths of once untouchable lineups, and the feast or famine roster decisions that left us dizzy. And here we are again, charged with hope and skepticism. In equal measure, hearts pounding at dawn as agents and G-Miz dance invisible deals, each press release dripping with double meaning, every cryptic quote fueling wildfire speculation. I look at this team's DNA, the unbreakable bond Steph and Draymond and Clay forged over years of championship glory, the erratic sparks of Wiggins' ascent, the underappreciated grit of Looney, and the raw talent simmering in Kuminga and Moody, and I feel the raw, aching tension of possibility. Can this be the season they stitch those old scars into battle armor once more? Or will this nuanced, high-stakes retooling fracture the fragile trust between players, coaches, and fans? There's no easy answer. As someone who bled blue and gold through every heartbreak, every empire-building parade, every unexpected game winner, every gut-wrenching defeat, I can tell you this, whatever's coming, it's going to be electric, divisive, and unrelenting. This isn't just basketball. This is the lifeblood of Dub Nation distilled into plays, trades, and whispers that will haunt sleepless nights and ignite victorious days. Now, I want you, yes you, who've held on to this team through war and peace to drop your rawest, most fiery takes below. Don't hold back. This is our moment to vent, speculate, theorize, and roar with the passion that defines us. I'll be in those comments, ready to argue, agree, and celebrate every truth spoken in the heat of this saga. Because in this fragile, thrilling moment, our voices are the true heartbeat of the Warriors' next great leap.